Welcome to Page Turners, a weekly bookish podcast for every kind of reader. Whether you want to explore a variety of genres, tick books off your growing TBR, or simply skip the reading for book club, we've got you covered. That's Liv.
And that's Amy.
Hello, hello.
Hi. It's Friday.
It is it's a little late for us.
We never record on a Friday.
Well, we used to record on a Friday when we used to really regularly record in person because we'd have a cheeky little wine.
We do need to arrange another one.
Mm,
I think maybe not next week, but the week after I message you about that. We can chat about that later.
yes.
But yeah, we did. Friday used to be our day, and now it's like a Tuesday, which is always a bit
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Eh.
Does it make for probably better content that we're not half cut when we're doing it?
Maybe.
Depends how we felt about the book, I think.
It does. How are you? How have you been?
Yeah, I'd say the people will be chuffed to know that life is slowly getting back to normal. Maybe only the people know that life has been off kilter a little if they've been listening to the last few episodes. But no, we're back home and happy to be back. And yeah, a new normal. We are entering a new normal.
Yeah.
How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, anniversary weekend.
Woo, 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 woo.
Woo. Yes, we've got some nice plans. Well, we were going to have another plan tonight, but we've had that hijacked by people trying to visit us and be lovely and give us cards and gifts. God damn it. But we're going to go to see Weapons at the cinema. It's a new horror film that's just come out, and it was the creators of Barbarian. Don't know if you've ever seen that.
Well, I haven't, but I've read the plot online.
Justin Long is in it.
Nope. Oh, that's why you're going to see it, of
He's in
course.
this one as well. But I think he has like a cameo appearance. So I'm waiting for Rudy just to turn and look at me and be like,
I've just Googled it and I just seen that it's about children and I'm out.
It's about children. A whole class of children go missing in the night. And then the whole town are like faced with this big conspiracy. What's going on? I think there's maybe something supernatural going on potentially.
Mm.
So yeah. Mm.
Well, enjoy that when you go.
Do enjoy. You don't feel like our little experiment in October last year changed your feelings about horror films then?
I don't know, you know. I think that I definitely know that I don't mind them as much as I thought I did. But I think I'm more open. So I Alex really wants to watch Hugh Grant's Heretic,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
which I think actually, oh yeah, I'd probably be up for that. Let's watch it or whatever. Do I think I'm a complete horror convert? No.
No, that's fair. That's all we got from that. That's fine. Because you weren't actually too bad with any of those films. You didn't find
Oh,
any of them too much for you, did you?
no, and even what are we on? August, so 10 months on, I don't dream about them. So that's always a good step.
That's a win. That's a win. There's some really effective scenes in Hereditary that you
Yeah,
might have dreamt about.
I was going to say, do I still sometimes wonder whether Tony Collette is crawling along the top of the ceiling? Yeah, but do you know what? That's one out of four films. I think we're fine.
That's a win.
Yeah.
What are you reading currently?
Oh, we're just skipping book news, are we?
Oh, I didn't know if we had any book news we didn't discuss
I'm
before.
I'm so I'm so sorry, but we do have book news. If anything, it's
Oh,
pretty big as well. So Waterstones Piccadilly this weekend,
uh-huh.
so they did something called Bookfest, and it was signings, author signings, sort of like arcs on offer, things like that. It was free. It wasn't ticketed. And yeah, I see those guys.
Mm.
Yes. So apparently the queues were horrific. People said that arcs things were gone within 10 minutes. Authors only signed for an hour, but the queues were longer than an hour. It was manic. I've seen some of the videos. It looks horrific. People are pushing in, people are like ramming into each other. Somebody sent me a TikTok. Someone is now selling t-shirts that says I survived Bookfest.
Nice. Nice. It's got like a fire festival vibe to it.
That is exactly what it's being described as. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you knew exactly what you were going to get into there. Like why they sold no tickets, why they did nothing to prevent that happening is beyond me. You know how popular these things are now and how mainstream this is.
That's it. It just, and also for Waterstones as well. Like, I think
Yeah.
for me, it's the confusion is why are you not more organized? Because you're a huge internet. Well, is Waterstones international or is it national?
I
Do we think?
think it's at least it's definitely national, but I don't know if it's
Yeah.
international.
You're a
Yeah.
national brand. You're one of the leading
Mm.
booksellers in this country. So, first of all, yes, you should be more organized.
Mm.
Obviously, maybe there was limited things for the organizers, for the specific organizers in particular to deal with. That must be really difficult. No shade to them. Secondly, though, and I fear that if this is a budgeting thing or they weren't given the resources, shame on you, Waterstones. You peddle the exact thing that people love, and some reason you're still pretending that this is not an industry that you could succeed in.
It's just, yeah, it just feels so misguided. And I can't even think about why they might have wanted to do that. Like if you told me it had been ticketed and then they just oversold tickets, I would completely and utterly, very cynically understand why that is. But I can't see why you would do that with no gain. It just seems,
Also, it's been all over social media for the last maybe at least, I think I saw it maybe 8 weeks ago.
oh wow, okay,
So
so
not as if
right.
they were trying to keep it on the DL or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
they've been out
Mm-hmm.
there plugging this event. Why they just didn't ticket it? Why they couldn't just, how long would it take to go onto Eventbrite and put free ticket or even charge a
Yeah.
fiver, you
Thing
know?
is, we've been to very recently a Waterstones event,
Mhm.
and I would say that was quite a niche event. Like it wouldn't have maybe attracted quite so big of a crowd, but it was still busy and we still bought tickets and it was still well attended. So I feel like if you know those kind of smaller events are as popular as they are, why wouldn't you think something like this would just be huge?
I don't know whether they didn't think it was going to be huge or they thought it was huge and they didn't give a shit. And they thought that we
Hmm.
as readers would satisfy or be satisfied with the very least amount of something.
Hmm. I mean, I feel like you're just making a really hard job for yourself there as well and for your staff. So it's like,
Yeah.
what is the thought process behind that? Because I imagine they're just getting absolutely slated on social media now as well. So the backlash must be huge.
Yeah, that's it. They're coming under intense backlash from that. And
Book news. There you go. I'll go back to my previous question. What are you currently reading?
was I still on Crimson Death by Laurel K. Hamilton last week? Yeah, well, I'm
You
still
were
on.
on one of them.
Who
I
knows?
don't know which one.
Who knows? Still on that one. Still on that one. We're getting there, but podcast books have been tearing me away from my obligations.
Hmm. As they tend to do.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
ignoring that, what are you reading?
I have just finished Stars Above the Never Sea by Evelyn Flood.
Hmm.
I would say quite similar to The Night and the Moth,
Okay.
and that we had like a kind of priestess type character
Okay.
who was never given a name, all that kind of like quite similar lore,
Yeah.
okay? Mm. And quite similar to Daughter of No Worlds.
Oh.
Yeah. With a little bit of not pirate, but like adventure on the high seas type
Uh,
deal.
there.
Um,
What'll have cinched it for you then?
yeah, that cinched it for me. She's got wings. It's pretty cool. It's pretty well written actually. Um,
Okay, there you go. Just a was it a palate cleanser?
it was just like vibes. You know, you just want something that's just totally vibes, and it's just. easy and entertaining and copy and paste of other things, but that's quite nice because you know where you are with it.
100%. I get that. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
Well,
because if we're going into something else, it's not going to be quite so light and palatable. So I thought let's do a little bit of light palatable first
yeah,
before we read the next podcast book.
yeah. But before we can talk about the next podcast book next week, we do have to talk about this week's podcast book. Amy, would you like to tell us what we've read this week?
We have read The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black.
Yay, completing this duology. Onwards. Trigger warnings. What have you got for us, Amy?
Violence, control and coercion, confinement, child abuse, death, sexual content, war, alcohol, gore. It's kind of all I could think of. Anything else?
Nah.
Nah,
It wasn't a really it yes, all those things are in there, but they are sprinkled in there.
they're
Like,
sprinkled and it's light touch stuff.
oh
So,
yeah.
yeah.
When you said sexual content, I was like, really? And then I was like, I suppose there's that is it that do you think it's referring to that scene when Tiernan and Thingy are in bed together? Like,
Maybe, or maybe, I think it's maybe the scene where it's like heavily alluded that they have sex out in the gardens.
oh shit, yeah, yeah, I mean that was basically a non-scene. Just yeah, that completely. Speedy summary time, just count me down. We'll see.
Okay. Okay. I love how we're just like, let's get it over with, guys. Okay. Three, two, one, go.
Orc, still under control in the bridle, manages to free himself from the castle prisons after receiving a message stating his rescue would occur in 3 days' time. He observes Ren as queen, but notices that she looks unwell, as her magic it appears to be unmaking her just as she unmakes the world around her. Oak and Ren are choosing whether to trust one another when the armies of Elfheim, led by Grima arrive. Before war can break out, Oak announces a fake engagement between him and Ren. Ren, her mother Bogdana, the first hag, and a few other trusted guards travel with Orc to Elfheim under a truce. Carden and Jude meet them both with suspicion, and the group of them face political scrutiny as Ren attempts to work out who she trusts while being manipulated by Bogdana with the kidnap of her mortal sister Bex. The Ghost, Court of Shadows, and Orc's friend, oh, and Taran's situationship, is poisoned, and to save him, Carden turns him into a tree. The conspiracy against the throne is revealed. Both Ren and Orc are implicated as allies alongside the plot of Bogdana and an advisor of Elfheim. Carden is stabbed and seriously injured. After a fake duel between Jude and Orc, Ren sacrifices herself against the might of Bogdana's magic, and Orc's confession of love revives her. She emerges from a cocoon as a winged fae and sneaks off back to the Ice Palace, leaving a note of love to Orc. Orc is then given leave to abdicate as the heir of Elfheim by Carden and given his support for his future. Orc travels to the Court of Teeth, finds Ren, and proposes. She accepts, and they live happily ever after.
1 minute 26.
Cool.
Good. Good one. First impressions?
Um, First impressions were that I got through the first bit of this book quite fast. When Orc's in the castle, escaping and figuring out what's happening, I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, whatever." Yeah, I think my love of the original trilogy really hinders this duology.
Go on. Because I
I
think I feel the same.
it just despite being in Orc's POV, we still don't really get anything. I don't I don't I don't understand how it can be so differently written. Yes, it's different, and we sort of applauded that last week about how it would have just been easy to reproduce the same thing again. But we know the level in which Holly Black sucks us into a setting, sucks us into a story, makes us care about characters. I just didn't. There just wasn't enough interaction between our two main characters for me to even put them together.
Nope. No, totally agree. Um, I was kind of in at the start as well, and everything kind of dragged me through. So I felt like I was kind of going along with it until maybe about 60%. And then I think I just sort of realized at that stage that this is kind of as good as it was going to get. And it was going to continue to just not quite scratch the itch for me.
Agreed. I think
Yeah.
I think I sort of, like you said, trundled along, and then I actually think I started to enjoy it around about 70%. when the sort of plot, and I say that with heavy, heavy air quotes, where yeah, when Garrett's turned into a tree, I didn't give a shit. And I was sort of like, oh, really? Is that it? Cool, okay. All right, Greek mythology. Like,
I don't know what was happening there.
and then I thought Ren was gonna unmake the curse upon him or something, or the poison or whatever.
Well,
And
you
then
would think there would be some point to it.
dickhead's still a tree. Like,
Adultery, treaty this day.
he's just in a tree. Also, wasn't he poisoned in like a tent or something, or somewhere inside? So what, the tree's gonna stand there?
Also, why would the tree be a better solution to just being dead? Like, what can you do as a tree?
I think what the intention was that the poison is slow acting, so if he transforms him into something else, it won't spread as fast, so they've got more time, or it's ice.
Time to come up with an idea. Right, okay. So there's a stick with us. You have to be in it for the long haul in this story, although there is no other book that we know of at the moment. So I assume it's going to be covered in the next book, but I don't think it's part of this duology. I think it's goes back to the original trilogy.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. We were told constantly that Taran and the ghost were either nothing or something or whatever. We weren't given any indication. And then he's turned into a tree, and then all of a sudden Taran's like, and
Mm.
I hate Taran with every
I was
fiber
going to say I
of me.
don't give a shit about Taryn one bit, to the
So,
point that when I reread the books, I just want to skip every scene that she's in. So
yeah.
didn't matter to me.
You know what's mad about this? I think we may have spoken about it when we did the trilogy last year. I just completely blank the fact that they're twins. So
All the time.
I just completely blank the fact that she looks anything like Jude.
All
Like,
the time.
so
Yeah. So
when
even
I
though there's that little bit with Carden who recognise he's the only one that recognises it's Jude, and we're meant to be like, "Oh," like it doesn't hit for me because I'm like, ah yeah, I forgot you've got a twin.
um
Totally
even
forgot.
even when I got the special editions from Fairy Loot and they have like the overlays and one of that is
Mm,
Jude and Taran, I was like, who the fuck's this? Like
yeah.
I
It's
just
just a
don't
copy and paste job. Yeah,
yeah,
I know.
I just don't care enough. Anyway, they're relevant. It's not about Taran. I get it that it is meant to be fantastical. They're fae. The bounds of magic are clearly more open in this duology.
Yeah. And
It
don't get me wrong, I wouldn't say that like it's much different in that way from the original trilogy. I just think there was more in the original trilogy to get us through it. Like we had more interest in the characters and the setting was quite new for us, so it was more interesting to read about.
also like there was actual political intrigue in the original trilogy. You can't have a fake engagement and a promise of war and call it political intrigue. Like
Why
what
was the fake engagement used? Like it just doesn't feel, I don't know, it just doesn't feel her st like Holly's style. It's always so much more complex than that. And I just couldn't quite understand what was going on with that storyline. Like, I know it was going to keep the peace and like you can't have a war because blah 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 blah, but it felt really just cheap and rushed and like yeah, nah. And it was as if, do you find these guys? Are you shipping these guys yet? Well, no, because I don't feel any true connection between the two of them whatsoever.
also we have to speak about this. I get it. Ren is your stereotypical liking looking fae in terms of like she's blue, she's got fucking sharpy teeth, she's a monster, right? In the
Mm.
physical sense, she is a monster to other people. I
Mhm.
get it, 100%. I do. At what point are we ever, whatever point have you ever considered in this duology that Orc is a monster as well? Like he keeps saying things like, "Oh, I'm not a nice guy, I'm not cool," or whatever. Like I literally think he says to her in the very end of the book.
He clung on to the childhood thing where he had abused his fae powers over his sisters. He clung on to that too much. Like, get over it. You were like six.
Yeah, page 341. I'm not good, I'm not kind, maybe I'm not even safe, but whatever you want from me, I'll give you. I'm like, okay, that could be really cute if it doesn't feel like he's done nothing but be good and kind the entire duology.
And safe the whole time. There's
Like,
never been any hesitation that he's going to treat her well. Like he's
and
been pretty consistent the whole way through it.
And also, we know he has these powers of manipulation, like with his voice or his charm or whatever. But
Yeah, whatever.
we've not seen him use it for evil at all or any sort of morally grey purpose. Like we only ever see him use it on people who we already know are dickheads or like.
Yeah, or when he's trying to get himself out of a situation where it's reasonable to use it, when he's trying to get out of the torture scene and he's
Yeah,
trying to like convince them to stop. Like, yeah,
and
yeah, I get why you would do that.
he doesn't hurt anyone with it.
No.
So I don't understand it. And yeah, no, so the fact that it brings them together is because he's like, oh yeah, you see me, and she's like, you see me, and that one I understand because she is
That
blue.
one's sweet. That one is quite sweet. I don't know why though. Like you could have just made it more like he was the sunshine character, that he's the good guy, and she's the one that maybe is more morally grey. And it's a bit of a role reversal in that sense.
I was really interested in the concept that he paints himself as the Sunshine character and then goes and tries to like pretend he's in on the coups and then breaks them down from the inside and then waits until I thought that was a really interesting thing and that we just
hmm
completely left behind. And there was a bit of one and that, yeah, but no, it just felt half done.
It did. It really did. We are big fans of the original. We have talked about this ad nauseam at this stage. We love Card and Jude. How did you feel about seeing them again?
It didn't feel like them. Like
No.
I think there was one bit where I think Oak is either with he's listening, he's under a bed or something, and he's listening, and
Yeah, the first chapter, he kind of sneaks into their room and hides under the bed because he doesn't want Carden to find him in the room.
yeah, I realize it's not that as I've just looked at my highlights. There's this bit, it's this line where it's Carden's real voice, the one he uses when he's not performing. I remember being like, that is a really nice touch. That's a little deeper. We've got back to that, Carden's not a fool thing because all the way through the book, Carden's a fucking idiot. Well, he's not a fucking idiot, but like he's very
Well,
articulate. He's playing the fool. But we know that that's not him. So why is that happening?
because that is the fan perception of him. I think that's the very simplified version of them, that Jude's this badass character and Carden's just like, I wear makeup and I just sit there and look pretty. And that's not what he's like. That's not why we like them.
Yeah, it got better when there was the fake duel, which I thought was a fucking stupid thing, but fine. At the very least, in the whole nobody go in those tents because, everyone thinks that she's protecting Carden, but Carden's actually helping people off of the island. Like he's not even in there. Like that was more Jude and Carden.
Mhm.
That was what I expected, them pulling
They
tricks.
plot and they scheme. Yep.
Yeah, but actually getting to watch them plot and scheme together for one of the first times, because obviously Queen of Nothing, he's a snake for most of it. But
Yeah, I know. And I thought we were going to get a bit more of that in that very first chapter when he is under their bed. I thought, oh, we're going to see like an insight into them as a couple, which we never really got to see in the original trilogy because they fought their feelings for so long. And then just as they kind of accepted it, the book ends pretty much quick instantly. I think there's like the I love you scene, and then it's the epilogue.
how do we take off our armor one piece at a time? Yeah.
Mm.
I think the reason we probably don't see it and the reason we probably don't see anymore is because there's nothing that would live up to our expectations. And I respect that. I completely understand that in terms of maybe we don't necessarily need privacy scenes with them because nothing will live up to the expectations of the two of us
No,
that
I know. I get what you're saying.
but
I
what we needed
agree.
more
But
of
why put it in?
fair, yeah. But also then but to counterbalance that, you want the classic Jude and Carden, the plotting, the scheming, which we just didn't really get. It just seemed like Jude was fucking oblivious, and Carden just knew.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's a shame because I know what you're saying as well, that you don't, nothing lives up to the expectation. But then she did choose to put them in the book for more than I thought they would be in it. I didn't think we were going to go back to Elfhame and have like the last maybe like 40% be there, and in fact maybe even more than that, half of the book possibly, and
Maybe,
seeing
yeah.
them daily. it just felt like if you're not going to just take a risk and show us a bit more of the relationship, why put them in it at all?
True. Fan service.
Mm,
Feels harsh to say it, but yeah, it felt like fan service. And we spoke a little bit about that with Suzanne Collins and Sunrise on the Reaping, but I felt like that still maybe gave us something a little new. I'm not
yeah,
sure.
Suzanne just uses it to rip your heart out and stand all over it though. Like this is a completely different way of doing it.
True.
Um,
True.
mm.
World building wise, how did you feel that it, I mean, because we spoke about how Holly Black always gives us this really dark, edgy, lore accurate Fae. Like, do you feel like that continued? Do you feel like we got anything new or anything good?
Good. I enjoyed the scenes at the Ice Palace Court of Teeth. I thought that was cool to see a little bit more of the world and did enjoy it. I don't think it added too much more in the grand scheme of things. I thought it was a good description of a place
Mm,
within a new part of the world, but I didn't feel like I really truly understood where it was situated within the bigger picture, really. Um, I don't think it was done as effectively as the undersea scenes were done
hmm.
in Wicked King. I liked it. It did it did what it did well in the first trilogy. Again, I don't necessarily think there was much more added value though.
Yeah, I feel like it contradicted a lot of the lore that it provided itself. Like, we get
Mm.
told how powerful, I want to say Coronor, the like the talent language, the silver tongue type thing is, and how
Mm.
Locke never really used it for anything, other than being silly
Mm.
or like, and so
Yeah, it can basically destroy the person's life of whoever it is you use it on.
yeah, and that sort of links into what we were saying before about how Orc's like, oh, I'm such a monster. Oh no. You haven't even used this massive power. And then also what, so sorry, unmagic and this unmaking.
Mm.
But then also
Unmaking.
but then you also made she also made the hags like super powerful. If they were too OP, if the hags were so powerful, Mother Marrow making Cardan marry her daughter in the first trilogy
Hmm.
would have worked.
Would have happened instantly. Yeah. I just felt like there was so much more nuance in the original trilogy. Like I enjoyed the fact that it was dark and twisted. And this time it felt like, as you said, a lot of things would have just been so much simpler with the lore that Holly created this time around. I just don't know how much, I don't know why though, because I feel like there was she did such a good job in the original trilogy to really embed us in this world and how it worked. And yes, the magic system was a bit ambiguous because we were looking at it through mortal eyes, so we didn't really truly understand it. But you don't need to give us too much. I think it could have stayed more ambiguous than it did. You're right, the whole storm hag thing, it just all seemed a bit too, not even so much convenient, but just all that kind of nuance was lost.
Are you telling me Bogdana has been what, biding her time for this whole time?
Biding our time,
For what?
chilling.
Like, it just made no sense.
If
Why?
she's that powerful, why wouldn't she just come on in under she represents the court of teeth and just obliterate the court and just they would instantly take control.
Yeah, like, sorry, what, you're under these two for what reason exactly? Your
Exactly.
your daughter is fully grown.
Mm,
What's that about?
mm. I also really didn't like the idea of, and I do love the idea of how the mortal world and the fairy world mix and intertwine in the original trilogy. But I didn't like it in this one that Bex was being like held hostage, question mark. Like what?
Oh, honestly, what was that? Like, I mean, sure, it's possible, but like, what was the point? Oh, I mean, yes, it was clearly a plot point. Bex was an entire plot point. She was no character within herself. Like, really, even when we get her towards the end, when Ren's in that sort of cocoon coma thing,
Mhm.
she's just sat at the bed and we get nothing from her.
Nothing. Nothing from her.
And
I
it's
just, yeah, the characterization this time was just, it was weak. It was weak for me. It really was. Like there was so much good work done for Ren in the first one, and then I just felt like I had no idea what her motivations were at all. Yeah, in this one.
nah, yeah, absolutely. It's just
She used the bridle.
well, that was it. That's what we spoke about last week. Like, what was the point in that? Why would you do that? Like, this is the very thing that you hate and despise and have been under torture yourself. Like, and I don't know whether Holly's trying to give us some sort of symbolism of hurt people, or like victims,
Maybe.
mirror the abuse that was given to them, but nothing comes of it.
Yeah,
She,
nothing comes of it.
it was just, it felt like a first draft.
Yeah. And some of the scenes had potential. Like I think I know what she was trying to get to with the yearning and the angst of the scene where Oak escapes and goes to Ren's room and basically thinks that she's going to be able to be just talk to him. And it's like we get the scene where she basically just says, "No, put the bridle back on, crawl to me." Like very, I think she was trying to make it tense and angsty, but it just undone everything that was done in the first one. And it just got me to the end of the book thinking, I don't really want you guys to be together. I don't really think you suit one another.
I just felt that I didn't care if
No.
they were together or not.
Why do you like each other? Like I didn't even really truly believe that she loved him. Like I just felt like he was just kind of like ground her down and eventually she was like, yeah, right, okay, I'll get engaged to you then.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that we're told constantly that she's looking to be loved, right?
Hmm.
That's all.
Hmm.
So I'm not convinced that she doesn't love. I'm not convinced that the only reason she's with Oak is because he's like the first person that she can confidently see loves her, and that just doesn't give me a good vibe.
Not for any kind of longevity in the relationship. No.
Yeah.
And him as well. He's just like, oh, he just goes from 0 to 100, and he's like, oh, I love her, and I would do anything for her. Would you? Oh,
After
right.
what introspection as well?
Exactly. After she locked you in a prison cell. Like, well,
Yeah. It j neither
yeah,
of them.
more could have been done for the past stuff. Like if that's what she was going to go by, and she was going to keep harkening back to that because it was constantly referred to that they played this game and like the games we played as children. You met once for like 15 minutes.
Well, they did have like constant interaction, but I don't. They just played one game. Like they kept playing the fox game where they kept throw. It's like they kept playing Pass the Pigs. That was the game they kept playing.
I kept thinking about that. I kept thinking the Fox game is just past the pigs. Why is there three? Should only be two.
One of the biggest gripes for me is Maddock coming back into the fray, and all of a sudden he's just like, "Oh yeah, no, I've got regrets and stuff, and I'm probably not as bloodthirsty as I used to be." And it's like, since when? That's your
Sorry, what?
entire personality.
It felt like someone, oh man, it felt like someone had written fan fiction
Ooh,
and didn't quite hit the mark with the characterization.
yeah, no, I get that. Or even just tried to make the characters who they weren't, you know?
Yeah, like I want to redeem this character, but I don't want to take the time to fully do it. Whereas some of these characters are not supposed to be redeemable. Like Maddox is supposed to just be bloodthirsty because that is by his very nature who
Yeah,
he
his nature
is.
is a red cap. That's why Grima Mog is the general of the army. Like, she doesn't lose it. She also, you have such a great character in Grima Mog and you underutilize her the whole anyway, by
Totally.
having her in whatever. Anyway, we're told all the way through about like Jude and Carden not wanting to look weak, Jude and Carden not wanting for it to seem like they're whatever, but she just lets Maddox stay. She renounced his exile, and everyone's just cool with that.
Ah, I know. Yeah, because we're constantly thinking, which we knew Jude would feel, that she's worried that people don't see her as a strong leader because of she's obviously got that huge chip on her shoulder. So just none of it felt quite right. And that's the only thing I can think of when I was trying to describe it is that it just felt like someone else had got these characters and had played with them and had written their own version of the story and just didn't quite get the characterization the way it should have been from the original trilogy.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, it's time for reviews. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to talk about it
No.
anymore.
No, no. Okay. Where is this? I just wanted, I didn't look up anything to do with this. So is it highly rated generally?
Let's have a look. Goodreads. 3.88, which I think is quite high.
Yeah. Okay. I'm
Compared to
unsurprised.
Stolen,
Right.
and not as high as Stolen Air, but Stolen Air's 3.93, so like I feel like they're much of a muchness.
Okay. Right. Hit me with the ones. Let's keep it going.
Oh yeah, the ones are yeah. Um this one star is for Jude Carden, and I feel like
Ouch.
they have to agree with everything we've said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um
Okay. Yeah.
the Hooves became their own character, one star.
Too many references to them. At one point, I think it mentioned that he clip-clopped along the flagstones and he was trying to escape. And then he had to shuffle because he had hooves. He had to like slide forward.
Oh my God, how stupid. Yep. This is quite a long one, so I'm just going to pick out little bits.
Mhm.
Sequel to a beloved series, main characters are two overpowered, over-entitled, overgrown children, who think their entitlement and passive self-pity are good character traits. Completely
Mm.
cheating on previous beloved characters.
Mhm.
World building is completely shattered by introducing insane powers that retroactively shit on the previous series.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, how stupidly strong the hags are. Um, Plot is so threadbare. Yeah, not great stuff.
Not great. No. But what we've said really when you think about it.
This is a
Um,
really interesting one. How is it that Orc is able to do what he can do? Sorry, there's a bunch of conspiracies against the High Crown and the Court of Shadows knows nothing about it. Question mark.
yeah.
Nowhere in sight is the cause and effect multi-layered plotline that ruled most of the first three books. There's even setups without payoffs, like the long-running dispute between Oak and Strawn, or the Troll Kings, who I suppose are only really there so we can say, oh, Ren is tired because she had to free them. Like,
Hmm.
we never get anything. It,
Nothing about that. That's so true. That's actually really true. I honestly think I just lost any enthusiasm and lost complete steam for this book by the end. I just wanted it to be finished.
that was it. You took the words out of my mouth. I just wanted it to end. I was just like, yeah. I do not understand how this is the same author who wrote the Cruel Prince trilogy. That one was actually entertaining. And this, I don't even know how this got past the editor's desk. Why would you
Mm,
in a world that you made so fun?
yeah. It just feels like in a way, maybe there was some pressure from some sources, from the fans, maybe from the publishers themselves to write more, and Holly just succumbed to that pressure without truly.
People can ask. You don't have to say yes. Like, if you don't think you've got it in you, write something. I mean, she is writing something new. Her second adult book has just
Yep. Mhm.
so why bother? It,
You can leave it alone. You can totally leave things alone.
I mean, we're clearly getting Nicasia in the Undersea next, right? Jude and Carden mentioned that they're going on vacation. Haha, air quotes.
I'm going to say it's really not particularly like it's not subtle at the end at all, is it? Uh, Quite clear what the next book's going to be about.
Yeah, no, not great. Um, yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of shit for the chemistry and for the lack of like, you know,
And for
some
someone who wrote probably one of the best examples of chemistry without much physical payoff in any trilogy I've ever read, really, really surprised.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Someone specifically pointed out, I know why throwing me in your dungeon meant there was still something between us. That's a direct quote. Let that sink in. This is something Orcus said aloud. Even with context, this quote was pure fucking delusion.
Yeah, he is so delusional though. But then I feel like we have to accept that Ren just buys into that delusion at the end. Like I feel like it would be better if she had just said at the end, let's just see how things go. I've got my own stuff going on.
I think they did she did really well in book one to make Ren like quite an interesting and complex character. But in book two, she absolutely just shit all over that by making Ren two moods of number one, I'm sad because Oak lied to me, into number two, I'm sad because Bogdana manipulated me.
It's just, yeah, it's just not interesting to read. And we've talked about this already, but this betrayal just was not big enough for the reaction that we got. It
Yeah,
didn't justify the way that she treated Oak in the slightest.
no.
And I feel like that's a running theme. Are we supposed to feel that, and you've said this before, like we're just being told constantly that this is a bad thing. This is bad. This character has treated this character badly. Like, show me that then. Nothing that you are showing me makes me feel like that.
Yes. Sorry, I was nodding very emphatically there. But yeah. Oh, it was just
Okay, five. Who loved it? I mean, I'm surprised if
yeah, Oak's perspective was a delightful switch up. I actually adore him even more thanks to this book. Jordan appearances are fun and exciting. I enjoy Maddox so much as a character.
I do, but because he's the
But
way that he is.
I would ask you, what do you really get from him? You get a bit of him in like the jail cells in
Hmm.
Stolen Air, and then he plays
Hmm.
chess with Orc. He's there when they first arrive, and he says some sort of quippy thing. I don't fucking know. And then Holly Black's just made him a dad. Like,
Yeah, he's just a dad character. I thought he was going to be there to mix things up in his usual style of trying to create unrest, because he likes it.
trying to play both sides, get in with Ren, or maybe like we're seeing where the wind's gonna
Yeah,
go. Like, I don't know. Nah, I would have just rather he wasn't there. I'd have just rather he'd have been exiled back to the human world, and that's it. The only reason
yeah.
he gets forgiven, and that's not, it's not, this is going to sound really weird when I say it. It, if Jude was left up to her own devices, the real Jude that we've come to know that Holly has built, and it wasn't a plot device, he wouldn't be forgiven. He'd have been exiled. And the only reason he is there is so that Holly Black can pretend to play happily families at the end.
Totally. Yeah, it's just fan service again, as you've said. It's to make sure that everybody is happy at the end of the story, and this was never what the this trilogy was about. Holly was happy to take risks with the characters, let them do things, say things, act in certain ways that could result in the reader disliking that character. I feel like she didn't want anyone to dislike anybody in this book.
That was it. Like, you managed to pull off having Carden as a beloved MMC, and then you're just, what, too afraid to do it again? Again, we don't need to do it again, but to make
But
us
you've
hate
done it.
anyone, like,
He's horrendous in the first book. Horrific.
and then we've got Locke, like, as well. Like, it's just poor. It was just poor. It was just, sorry,
Was.
we're on the five stars. We're on the five stars. I have to keep reminding myself that.
Okay, okay, okay.
Um, Now listen, I'm the biggest fan and defender of the Folk of the Air trilogy, but what if I said that this is Holly Black's best book today? Oh, fuck off. No.
No, no. And you're doing the first three a complete disservice by saying that.
I'm sorry, I'm just gonna go and see how they justify this. It's full of complex characters, interesting internal dilemmas, expertly crafted politics. When? When? When?
When?
However, The Prisoner's Throne takes everything good from the previous books in this world and adds to it with new characters, twists, and political dynamics. When?
When? The
Incredibly.
only thing I could say politically,
Mm,
and this is not applying to anyone who really enjoys this book necessarily, but it's a bit more simple than the original trilogy.
yeah, yeah. We don't
So
get
maybe,
we don't get anything about the intricate inner workings of Elfham. And like we
no.
get the very barest amount of acknowledgement that the people of Elfham do not love Jude. Like
Hmm.
she
Hmm.
rules them by fear. Like and respect and sort of like there's an they accept maybe that the land has accepted her sort of thing. Like So,
Hmm. Mm.
but
Hmm.
we get none of that.
And that would have been so cool
And
to read.
where was Jude's ability to manipulate the land as well? Because it heals her in the fucking third book.
Hmm.
After, just to be clear, Maddox absolutely tears her a fucking new one, nearly tears her apart, and he hasn't even apologized and he still doesn't get exiled. Um, I really loved having Orc as the main character as it allowed us to see generations of politics and stories intertwining when Orcs,
Yes,
honestly, I'm gonna cry. Like this is so fucking annoying.
it
Orc's
did.
POV also helped reveal a lot of this world as he, like many of Holly Black's characters, is very observant and manipulative. When?
We were told he was, but I don't think we ever really truly saw him be observant or manipulative.
Another review. I live and breathe for Jordan, and seeing them again in so many scenes is
Mm.
a knife to my heart that I would take willingly. Um, their scenes, the banter, the love, the care for each. Also, they do share their wardrobe with each other. La 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 la. These domestic scenes. Um, I cannot pro. I like. There were glimmers of it. You know, he saves her with the cloak. That's like, yeah, but that's it. That's it.
There were some bits. There were some bits. I'd rather they just weren't in it as much.
I just, yeah, it was just a big old fat disappointment.
It's a shame. It's a shame because I don't think either of us thought it was going to be because actually the first one was
It
all
had
right.
it had promise, and we could sort of
Mm,
see where it was going. And definitely last week we talked about where we wouldn't like it to go and how we'd like to maybe see it, open up a bit more. And with the character development, maybe we'll get
mhm.
more from Oak. I just felt like we didn't. We got more hoof chat.
Didn't get it. More hoof chat. How can you possibly be? I know we weren't in really in his head, but how can you be following him so closely and still feel like you just don't know anything about him?
Right? Like it was just I couldn't tell because sometimes it was sorry. I'm I'm getting annoyed. I can feel myself getting angry. So I'm just trying to breathe a little bit so that I my speech doesn't come out like um so for me all the way through the second book because we're told a little bit in the first and then we talk a bit more about his silver tongue type power. Sorry, I don't remember the exact name of it. We're told that he is manipulative and everything. And like people, other characters are telling us that, oh, you clearly did that. Or he's thinking to himself, oh my God, has everyone I've sort of ever really bedded like just been like part of my charm, part of my powers or whatever? Which would have been a really interesting concept if then he didn't shit the bed with his powers when he actually tries to use them. So tell us which is it, Holly? Can he use them or can he not? Like, which one is it?
Exactly.
You were too afraid to make him a master manipulator that you just shit the
She
bed.
didn't want us to dislike him because she didn't want to do, I'm not saying she didn't want to do the work that she had to do for Carden, but she didn't have time to do the work because not enough was done in the first book to carry the weight of what needed to be done before the end of the second one. There just wasn't enough done with Oak because it was from Ren's POV in the first one and we didn't know enough about him.
I have a question. Why
Hmm.
is the stolen heir written in first person, and why
Don't
is
know.
Prisoner's Throne written in third?
Do not know. When I heard that it was Oak's POV in the second one, I thought, oh, okay, so it's going to be first person Oak. And then it wasn't. I've got absolutely no idea why that decision was made. I don't think it added anything to it.
I have a theory. I reckon because in the first one we needed to introduce this new character of Ren and give her whatever, and also because we didn't really have any repeating characters that we had to focus on or whatever. So we get first person with Ren, we get to whatever with her, blah 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 blah. Second book, yes, because it's not actually about the plot, it's about fucking Jude and Carden. And if we
Hmm.
did all first POV, we wouldn't get half as much as we did.
We wouldn't get any of them. We wouldn't get any of them. It just felt like so many of the scenes were set up to be about them, and Oak just happened to also be there, despite the fact that he is the main character of this duology, one of the main characters.
And look, if it was executed perfectly and it was done, forget about what we've said for the last, I don't know, 40 minutes, I don't know. But if it was perfect, I wouldn't have had a problem with Jude and Carden being there. But it was just
Oh,
slapdash put together. It was wrong.
uh-huh.
And do I feel like you and I are like, can I look at us on this screen and see like a bunch of a couple of incels being like, actually, I think you'll find that.
I know.
Yes, it feels like that a little bit, but there a lot of people agree with us in the
I
review.
know.
And
And I just think leave them alone. Sometimes it's best just to leave characters alone
yep.
because you cannot live up to the expectation of people. You shouldn't have to necessarily, but if you're going to put them in the story at the amount that Holly chose to write about them, then you should have had something more you wanted to do with the characters, not just show us them there.
Also, the fact that Carden has this whole thing where he says to Oak at the end, like, I saw what you were doing before your sister. Um, and that's an interesting concept. That's really okay, cool. So we obviously get this insight that Jude still sees Oak as a little boy, and that blocks her sort of intuition and ability to see, be the observationist. Um, but then you get that glimmer of Carden that's just, but where was that the whole way through?
The whole way through, the whole way through. Why also do we have to get maybe not too many, maybe I just noticed them, but multiple references to the fact that they were not going to have kids? Like you can talk about it once if you want, like that's fine. But why did it repeatedly keep getting mentioned that Jude was on birth control? And it's like,
Well, I suppose it was
ah,
probably for the reason that, yeah, I don't know, it just,
it was obviously to show that Oak was likely to be the next in line if they didn't have a biological heir. I get it, but it just felt like it kept getting brought up, and I was like, who's this for?
yeah, yeah. We know it's all right if they don't have kids. Like, who are you
Do you
trying?
think it's okay?
Yeah, who are
Yeah.
you trying to convince? Yeah, honestly, let's just spend 2 minutes because this is what we do. Let's talk about that shite sex scene.
Thing is, for me, the dialogue was all right. I was into it a bit. And
Hmm.
then it just was nothing at all.
Why does she have sex
Yeah,
with him? Why does she have sex
don't
with him?
know.
She's in they're in the gardens and they barely trust each other and she's clearly still butthurt from being betrayed. That's absolutely fine. I'm not lessening that. That's fine. You hold on to that fucking anger, girl. Don't
Mm,
even let that go. But
let
then
me
she's
see.
like, I want you. Yeah, yeah. And it's like, why? Why?
Why do you want him? I want and I want and I want. It just feels like I don't know, like it feels like it was written out of order. Like maybe some of the dialogue, maybe some of the scenes they were developed first, and then it was trying to put them in there, and it didn't really work. Because some of it was like very Holly, like what do you want? Everything, charm me, rip me open, ruin me, go too far. Very Holly, very kind of Carden and Jude-esque.
I
But
just
then
yeah.
it didn't suit the situation because we didn't have any idea that they felt like that about each other.
Right? They kept trying to tell us like they would keep trying to convince us. It made no sense to me. I this is going to be
And we
such
got real fade to black, real fade to black. It wasn't even like it is
a
in
in Wicked King, yeah, we
yeah.
get like a sensual type, sort of touching, very intimate sort of
Mm.
sense. The senses
Oh,
of
yeah.
that, but no, no, he puts down a cloak, if that, and they just have
I
sex on
think
the
he
floor.
does I think he starts, but she is already pushing up her dress. And then the last line is, then her lips are against his, and there is no more talking for a long time.
Cool.
And then instantly they're interrupted. So you don't even get to see what happens after it because as soon
Oh,
as
yeah,
Lady Elaine comes, instantly.
very tacky to have his ex-lover walk in and what she's okay with that. She then immediately like she's so mad, like it's so mad her personality switch is so crazy because she I feel like it's like, okay, so is she meant to feel like Oak's arranged this tryst to then have a tryst with her or something, and then she's sort of like, oh good, I hope he gives you as much of pleasure as he's just given. I'm
Yeah,
like, what do you mean? You have your whole point is that you're not meant to be this able to be a political blah blah blah. Also, you're a fucking queen.
exactly. Exactly. Because she says, you're the girl from the Court of Teeth, Lady Lane says, and then Ren corrects her. And then she still does that really like cringy teenage high school thing where she's like, "Oh, I hope he gives you as much pleasure as he gave me. Ha 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 ha. Oh, that's not very Elfhame, is it?
No, no, it's not. Anyway, yeah, I don't want to talk about this book anymore. It's just made me angry.
Nah, let's just wrap it up, I think.
Oh, final thoughts.
Disappointment. Really disappointing. More disappointing because of the first one not being as disappointing as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Do you think, do you think as we're reading more books in this podcast and we're reading perhaps different kinds of genres and maybe getting more from those genres that we have previously gotten from other books, do you think we're shifting in our expectations?
Possibly, possibly, but I do think that when we reread the trilogy last year, I expected to not like it less, but maybe just not be as into it as I was the first time around. And I think the rereadability on that series is so high. So for this, for Holly to have written this and written that, I just don't get it.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I think it hasn't put me off. Obviously, it wouldn't have put me off the original trilogy because it's nothing like it. Anyway, but it has made me sort of go, maybe I should reread it again just to make sure. Just to make
I
sure.
started it. I started the first one a couple of days at the hairdressers like last week, and yeah, I just you've like it's just so good. The first one is just so good.
Yeah, I don't know. It just all felt thrown in like a jumble sale, and it was rubbish. I'm so sorry. It was so rubbish. I think it will probably get 1 star from me.
Me too. If you're thinking of reading it and then you love the original trilogy, I wouldn't even bother reading it if you haven't yet. I think the time's passed. You're not missing anything. Just skip it.
Will I even consider going in and reading this next one that we've got that's been, I don't know. I don't know. I would have to I would probably do I'll probably wait. I'll probably wait.
Yeah, I'll get to it eventually, but it's not going to be high up on my priority list whatsoever. And if I don't get round to it's not going to matter to me very much.
Yeah, well, I mean, this was a short episode, wasn't it?
And we shouldn't have been. It should have been longer. We should have loved it.
We've done what we always do. As we came in, I was like, do you know what? It was all right. And then the more we've spoken about it, the more angry I've gotten, and now I just really don't want to speak about it ever again.
No, put it down to a bad job. So
Can't
what are
wait.
we reading next, Liv? Let's move on.
We will be reading Tender is the Flesh by Augustina Bazterrica. I am very excited for this.
Can't wait, but I am a little bit nervous. I think not because I'm nervous about us talking about it. I'm just nervous about this book because it has got such a reputation for being really, really gross
Mm.
and dark and nihilistic. So that'll be fun.
I don't know if I feel clever enough to tackle this book. Like, I believe in you and I think we're clever sausages, and we have tackled some pretty solid books in the past, but this one seems to be like pretty high up there. And I'm not sure how we're gonna, I don't know. I don't know.
It's it's a shorty. I know we don't haven't decided on our schedule for next week yet, but I think I'm going to have to read it, think about it, come back to it, maybe
Mm.
think about notes after it, and not do the thing I normally do, which is write my notes as I go. I think I'm going to have to take some time to really think about what the message is, because
Yeah, I want to bring my A game. I want to bring my A game.
yeah, I think we need to. I think we have to do it justice. But yeah, join us for that. Have we missed anything? I feel like we did. Oh, we didn't do if you like this, you'll like that. But you know what you'd like if you like this book. You like more Holly Black stuff.
And also, we didn't like this, so sod you.
Exactly.
See you next week.
Happy reading.